Many of you may be aware that the prevalence of autism has risen over recent years in the United States. According to the Centers for Disease Control, in recent decades, the prevalence of autism has increased from 1 out of 150 children to 1 out of 68 children. What does this mean? Well, it means that the likelihood of you coming in contact with a person with autism as you serve the community is high. So what is autism? Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder of the brain that begins in early childhood, persists throughout adulthood, and affects 3 crucial areas of development: communication, social interaction, including creative or imaginative play, and behavior. Characteristics of those who have autism include, but are not limited to, the following: a tendency to echo back what is said, hypersensitivity or hyposensitivity, repetitive movements such as rocking or hand flapping, limited language skills or the inability to use spoken language, appearing nervous or anxious, which may include pacing, placing hands in their pocket, engaging in low-intensity self-injury such as pinching or scratching themselves, difficulty following verbal commands, difficulty expressing needs, or they may appear deaf, lack of eye contact or exhibiting eye contact that is not socially appropriate in nature, hyper-focusing on routine, restricted interests that are either intensive in focus or inappropriate to age or circumstance, and unusual ways of relating to people, places, or events. When considering people with autism, remember the following phrase: when you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. Having autism is often referred to as being on the spectrum. This phrase, and being on the spectrum, means that each person you encounter with autism will behave differently, just as you and I behave differently. The following tips are from the Autism Society. When working with those who have autism, speak slowly, use concrete terms, repeat simple questions, allow time for responses, give lots of reinforcement. Do not attempt to physically block repetitive behaviors, as they often are a coping mechanism known as stimming or self-stimulatory behavior. Be sensitive to senses. Too much noise, touching, or activity can overstimulate those with disabilities and cause stress. This stress can be relieved by minimizing the activity in the environment. Being cautious of how much noise there is or using headphones to block the noise can help. Finding a quiet location where the person can refocus also helps. Some caregivers may be able to relay additional coping strategies that have been successful with the individual in the past. When available, talk with the caregivers. Get to know the individual's likes and dislikes. Remember that each individual with autism is unique, and one person with autism may act quite differently from another person with autism. Let's hear from Andrew, who has been dealing with autism his entire life.
So Andrew, can you describe for me, what is it like to have autism?
Autism, it's unique. It's just a different way to be able to perceive the world. It's like being a foreigner in a land where you don't know the language or the customs. Yeah, I do everything that's non-typical. And that upset me a lot when I was a kid, because I never understood. I just do whatever I thought was the appropriate or logical thing, and everybody's like, no, that's weird, no, that's strange.
Let's say that you're having a bad day. You get pulled over by a police officer. What would you like them to know that you think would help them in working with you in that situation?
My biggest problem, even today, still is I don't know when somebody's being serious or not, if they're joking or being sarcastic. I mean, I'm better at it than when I was younger, but I still can't tell. I might take something personal and they didn't mean it that way at all. Police will be sarcastic. So, where are you going in such a hurry? Is there a fire somewhere? And I'll say, no, there's no fire. And I realize that's a sarcastic comment. I'm not even sure how you're supposed to relate to that, which that happened to me before. And so sometimes, you know, they'll be talking and you'll answer them literally and they'll think you're being a smart ass. But it's not. Whatever the autistic person says, take it literally. So if you talk to them, ask them, tell them to do something, and they respond, listen to what they say, because whatever it is, it's literally the truth.
So is there anything else you'd like us to know about autism?
Some people can have social anxiety issues and not be autistic at all. But you can be autistic and not have social anxiety. It's not common, but it exists. Eye contact, that's frustrating because you talk to like I'm at work and I don't look at somebody and they're going to say, why aren't you listening to me? Yeah. I can repeat back to every single word they said. If I was recording it, exactly what they said and they don't understand. Yeah, I'm listening. I don't need eyes to hear you with. I need ears. Of course, then I think you're being a smartass again. But it's literally, that's the truth. And that kind of stumps quite a few autistic people. Why do you have to look to listen? And it's uncomfortable to look, so.